So I'm gonna pick my words carefully here. Okay. When I say I am unironically an anti-centrist, I don't mean, I unironically advocate for violence. I don't want you to go out into the street and punch a centrist in the face. I have a more metaphorical definition legally of centricide, and it's more like, as time goes on, it's more descriptive than anything. If you've ever read accelerationist literature, there's it's more of a description of how things are going rather than a prescription of what should be done about it. I am simply saying, over time, liberalism is going to fail, and when liberalism fails, there is going to be an opportunity for an extremist ideology to pop up and take control and become the new status quo. And I think that basically anything will do. I don't really care. And this is a lot of information all at once, and it's probably difficult for you to wrap your head around. I'll try to be as grounded in this as possible and not drive off into theory too much. I think, on a base level, that the left has more in common with the right than either does with the center. That's it. It's a very basic premise. I have known this for a very long time, and I've known this for a very long time because I now identify as an anti-centrist. I used to identify as a social nationalist, and all that means is I have left-wing economic policies and right-wing cultural policies. That's where the Nazbol joke comes from, by the way. It's a more extreme version of the beliefs that I had. Voting as a social nationalist it's a very interesting experience because you have left-wing beliefs and you have right-wing beliefs. And there are some left-wing candidates who have, left-wing cultural beliefs that you disagree with, and there are some right-wing candidates who have right-wing economic beliefs that you disagree with. And you have to pick and choose. Okay, well, do I want which? It's basically like you're never really getting what you want because nobody runs on a social nationalist platform, even though I think that there would be a very big voting demographic for that platform. So anyways, the point is, now I don't really identify as a specific political ideology. My goal as an anti-centrist is to create a home, to create a platform for as many different kinds of ideologies that oppose the status quo. If you oppose the status quo, you are an anti-centrist ideology. That's it. If you are a person who opposes the status quo, you are an anti-centrist. That's it. And under that banner, we can organize, we can do stuff that destroys the status quo and replaces it with something else. It's not my job. I have gotten to the point in my life where I realize it's not my job to figure out which ideology it's going to be. I don't care. As long as it's not liberalism, fine. Go right on ahead. Now, some people would say, oh, I'm a social democrat. I'm a fellow anti-centrist. Fuck you and fuck off. You're not. Social democracy, neoconservatism, I have no time. I have no time for centrist ideologies. Those are all centrist ideologies. I'm not saying, the left-wingers and right-wingers have to abandon all their values and meld into a single being. I'm just saying, as an anti-centrist coalition, there are cases where the left can work with the right to do stuff that benefits both of them and hurts the center. And I think that kind of organization is what we're going to need if we're ever going to have any real change. It's kind of annoying to me how many nihilists and centrists this channel has attracted. Not surprising, but annoying. I am not on your team. I do not support your stupid beliefs. Please stop thinking that I do. I want to make this really clear. When I make fun of an extremist ideology, I do so out of deep love. They all have good souls. I think that the core behind what they're saying is important and good. When I make fun of the centrists, I do so with genuine disdain. When you see these centrists getting killed in centricide, this is my expression of that rage. I want to kill the centrists in centricide. Again, for legal purposes, I'm talking about my centricide series called Centricide. For legal purposes, I am coming out as someone who is an unconditional anti-centrist. What that means is, even though maybe my personal bias is social nationalism, I'm more than happy to have an anarchist take control and see what happens, than anything else. And it's not so much that I even hate social democrats and liberals and neocons. It's at least those people decided to believe in something. My issue is with people who just kind of passively accept the status quo. They don't really think about the system that they live in. They don't think about how to change it. They don't even think about it. They just accept it. It's annoying to me. It's annoying to see. And yeah, I don't know. I don't respect those people. They're centrists. One of the things I do by making people engage with extremist content is unironically think about, okay, where is this person coming from? Where is this ideology coming from? And as soon as someone starts to do that, they start to pick up on some reasons why someone might be an extremist. As soon as they do that, they can be an extremist. They can move in that direction. The point of the art and the point of the irony is to get people to say, oh yeah, that's funny, that's ridiculous, but like it's funny, it's kind of cool. Yeah, maybe I should look into this. Oh, that's actually very interesting. You know what, they're making some good points, and eventually radicalize that person. Don't even get me started on the term de-radicalization. It's a horrible term. And when leftists brag about de-radicalizing someone and just making them into a centrist, that is the epitome of centrism apologia. The reason I've always hated apoliticism so much is because I like honesty. I like when someone just says what's on their mind. And I think if more people said what was on their mind, no one would be apolitical. The thing is, an apolitical person doesn't exist. It's just layers of them refusing to acknowledge what they believe because they don't want to live it out. Maybe they're culturally right-wing, and it would be a pain to lose all their culturally left-wing friends who would abandon them. So they just say, oh, I'm apolitical, I don't care. I think if people expressed what was on their mind and genuinely thought about their politics, they would come to extremist conclusions. If we didn't take everybody's opinions and cut off all the ugly ends and make them fit into a neat little Overton window, I do think we would be in a very different place. A lot of you are going to be saying like, oh no, I thought you talked about politics because you were making fun of politics, and I like being a nihilist who doesn't believe in politics, so I liked you. No, you can't do this. Let me be really clear. I talk about politics because I like politics, because I think politics is important, because I think politics shapes your life, and because I think that you, as an individual, should be thinking about politics, because I think it's important. I'm not trying to encourage people to be nihilistic about the status quo. I'm encouraging people to change the status quo. There's also a reason I put the nihilist on the centrist team. It's because nihilism encourages the status quo. I think you should find something to believe in. I think you should represent that belief, and I think you should fight for it. One of the big ideas of anti-centrism is, if there is a tanky and an anarchist, and they're both economically left-wing, they can work together to create economically left-wing change, even though they disagree on what the state should be. And you see the same thing in right-wing communities when, a Hoppian and a Nazi team up because they're both culturally right-wing and they want to dash a leftist plot. It's the exact same idea. The only difference is, in this case, there's a scale, right? How much do I hate the status quo, here or here? And everybody who's an extremist happens to be up here, so if they can all work together for this one goal, then they should, and then they can part ways at a later date. In the same way that a tanky might work with an anarchist and then shoot the anarchist in the back of the head. So yeah, now you know. I hope it also explains why I was keeping things wrapped in irony. It's for my own legal protection. I don't want people, to blame me or to take down my channel if anything happens. I am just saying my own personal beliefs. Anything that works against the status quo is good by me. That's it. That's all. So now you know, and I think with that revealed, I will be able to talk a lot more openly about my anti-centrism in the future. So, thank you.